This week we're going to be doing s'mores, which is kind of interesting because it's actually quite a simple dessert on the basic sort of level, in the sense of getting a cracker, some chocolate and some marshmallow. But to up the ante, we're obviously doing the Poor Hollywood s'more recipe, which actually is much more complicated than I thought. So what we're gonna be doing is 3 components this week. It's gonna be the digestive, the marshmallow, and the chocolate ganache. Unfortunately, I haven't seen last week's episode, the Halloween episode, so I'm kind of excited to go back. I've been super busy with just editing and kind of getting things out as soon as possible, and also trying to grab some of the recipes for this week's episode. So what I did is I got my boyfriend to watch the technical challenge, because we both watch the Great British Bake Off. We try and keep up to date with it. However, we did miss last week's. And so I just asked him to watch the technical challenge for me, to have a look at what the instruction says and the recipe. So all the recipes and the instructions, or the lack of instructions, will be all down in the description below. So have a look, try out for yourself. I hope you're enjoying this season's Great British Bake Off. I've been loving it so far. Very gutted that Carol has gone. Genuinely, she's such a character. So when I had a quick look at the equipment that I may need, I didn't know what a sugar thermometer would look like. I presume it would be something professional grade. I don't have that. I have something that is more for meat. Hopefully this will be long enough to put in without necessarily burning the machine and the machine and myself. I wonder what temperature I am at. I'm an easily amused person. I'm 34. I should be dead. Theme of today. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to be working with this. So that'll be fun. Let's crack on. Let's start the timer. 2 hours starting now. There you are. I started creaming the egg whites with the cream tartar, something that we didn't have last week, which you could also exchange it for a teaspoon of lemon juice. For some reason this week it's running much smoother. I wonder if last week it was just a lot more challenging just because of how many egg whites there were. Maybe the case, I don't really know. However, this week, because we're working on the meringue first, something that I really did want to talk about is that I don't actually know how to make marshmallow. So reading the ingredient list and just the instruction doesn't really help. Cornstarch and the icing sugar are more like to prevent it sticking from any surfaces. So I presume you either coat it with sugar and then coat it with cornstarch, or maybe you mix it together. I have no idea. But I think that's how it works, because now that I think of it, mochi works in the same way. You kind of need to coat it with cornstarch and sugar so that it's got a sweet but also not sticky externals. So maybe that is probably the way I would be working it. I want to use the same technique as the mochi just because I think it's a safer way of approaching it. So I think I need to heat up the caster sugar and the corn syrup together, and then the leaves, like cheesecake, probably will be soaking in cold water and then probably be mixed into the hot sugar, one way or the other. Anyway, I'm gonna continue whisking this, and then we'll do the sugar straight away. Okay, I put my hair up because I knew this part was probably labor intensive, but actually this taken me so little effort to create stiff peaks. I think we've got stiff peaks, yes. Let me see if I hold it. I'm not going to hold it above my head because I've just washed it. So that looks good to me. Let's set that aside. I'm going to focus on the sugar. So now what I'm going to do is soak. Soak, how many do I need to do? So I need to soak 4 platinum grade gelatin leaves in cold water. I'm going on the basis of the instructions actually. On the back here. So we're going to do that whilst I focus on heating up the 2 sugar elements. I don't know. This is actually like, I'm actually kind of afraid of getting burnt by the sugar. I mean, probably what Paul had in mind. I don't know how hot to heat up the sugar. I know water boils at 100 degrees. I think I'm going to go for 100 degrees or until like everything dissolves and looks clear. Also, I don't know if this process whether the sugar can crystallize. If it does, I don't know. If it crystallizes, I'm gonna have to start again, which means I might not be able to continue filming today because I didn't buy extra ingredients, which I realise is a risky move. But you know, I'm a one-time wonder, one-hit wonder I am. So let's smash it. I'm gonna put into this sort of saucepan because it's a nice stainless, like kind of stainless steel pan, and heat up the sugar and everything. Oh, quick tip for corn sugar or any sort of syrup, oil the bowl. I've oiled the bowl and it's so easy to get this sugar out. I'm kind of glad I did because there's a lot of it and it looks so weird, like so like clear, you can't even see it. So heavy, like this is heavier and this is just complete sugar compared to the two. I don't understand how marshmallow is so fluffy. Let's go. Okay, so currently the sugar is boiling in the pot. Whilst I leave the sugar to do its thing, I don't want to stir it up because I know I think I'm right that the sugar can crystallize based on things I watched, based on Food Network. Quote Food Network somewhere. But I've left the sugar to do its thing. I haven't like stirred it, haven't interfered with it. I realised the next part is probably going to be really tough because I think you've got to combine the sugar with the egg whites to make the marshmallow, and obviously I'm worried that it might cook the egg whites, so this is probably the bit where I would advise everyone to get a food mixer so it makes life easier. But as I said earlier, I don't know which temperature I'm going to go, how high I need to go, so we'll test it now. There we are. It is just boiling. I put the temperature in. Okay, it's about 119, 127. So I think that's good. That's a bit too high now. I think I'm going to turn it off. Annoying. Okay, so what I realise is because there's a lack of machinery, which means I have to multitask. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to lay down a cloth at the bottom of the bowl, of the metal bowl, when I'm whisking, the metal bowl that I'm whisking egg whites in, and then as I pour the sugar at a certain height, I think I'll be able to kind of keep turning and whisking the eggs. That is my theory. I don't know if that would work. I also don't know when to put this, the gelatin leaves. It kind of looks weird, so I don't know when to put that. It hasn't been enough time for it to like be 5 minutes, but it'll sit in there for a bit until I sort out the sugar. So this is the bit where either go really well or not, and this recipe would not happen. So we'll only tell in a minute. We've done. Oh my god, I'm sweating because how not very bad actually. Okay, very interesting thingy. It's just to show that you can't fail at home if I'm doing it with a whisk, metal bowl, and no kitchen aid or no helper whatsoever. Okay, I've literally given up. Oh, that's sugar. Okay, so what it looks like is really nice and thick, and sort of really nice and thick and voluptuous. I mean, it looks good. What do you guys think? Anyway, we're gonna work with it. It's kind of grainy a little bit. I wonder whether it's because of the sugar cooling down way too quickly. It may be a tendency of both actually, which is probably kind of jarring me a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to put this into the tray that we had earlier. And then I'm going to smooth it out, and then I'm going to dust it again, put it into the fridge, leave it to set for an hour or so whilst we get on with the biscuit. Let's crack on. Okay, so we got an hour and 15 minutes left, which is left for the dough to be put together. Now, Now I don't have a kitchen mix or a kitchen aid, so it's an old-fashioned fingertip style. And what I'm gonna do is, just to reverse the method, just because this is just like normal wholemeal flour, I think I'm gonna put the flour in the end and mix the sugar and the butter together, just because the brown sugar is very coarse. It's a very coarse brown sugar, so it's something that I thought I'm not gonna be able to do that without a mix, which I realised not a great idea of not having one. I didn't realise how hard sugar is to work with. Look at this. Not edible, first and foremost, and secondly, ruins your teeth. Go to your dentist. Also, guys, does anyone know how they do it in the tent? Like, I wonder how this is filmed, because obviously not every shot can be restaged. So I wonder whether they just they have the time pressure. I don't know, I'm talking because I'm on the clock as well, but I wonder whether they just film it, and as the contestants are competing, they will either just go back and reshot anything they need. Because I am curious, because I have worked on like TV shows on the more legal side. I have never worked on the other production side, so it's quite interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I don't envy the production team or the recipe team or anyone who's preparing it, because it's so long and tedious, and oh my god, it is really tough work just to be the contestant, let alone the production team. I mean, be the production team and not never mind, you get what I mean. So yeah, let's crack on it. Okay. So okay, so I'm currently rolling the dough. It's a little bit stiff because obviously it came from the freezer, but it's holding up quite nicely. I'm using quite a generous amount of flour just to make sure that it doesn't tear anywhere. Oh, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is cut them into nice sort of shapes. I don't have any cutters, which is a little bit of annoying because it said circle. I might try and use like wine glass and see. They're quite tiny circles just based on what the pictures look like. But other than that, should be sort of a straightforward thing to do. I'm not so worried for time. We've got quite a lot of time, so I'm gonna put these into the oven. So yeah, looking really nice. It's nice and thin at the moment. So we're gonna cut this up into like whatever shapes that they said to do it in. They said circle, so a wine glass it is. I'm thinking something like this, which has a really nice circular shape. That's quite big though, but I think I can get 16 out of that. So yeah, why not do that? And then the next step is, after whilst baking this, is to make it the ganache. The meringue, I have checked, is looking like it's setting pretty well. Nothing much to say about that really. It's one of those hit and miss sort of things where like you only know at the end whether it did well or not. Obviously I'm still quite apprehensive because multitasking, not a thing that I can do really well, but hey ho. Anyway, this looks really good. Trying to make sure I got all the thick spots out. And then so far so good. Let's knock these out and then get on with like the baking and stuff like that. Fairly straightforward. This is so exciting. It looks so good as well. 15 minutes in the oven for 180 degrees. I think maybe gas mark 6 or something like that, or yeah, gas mark 6 I believe is what we want, because we don't need such a high temperature. Okay, so we're almost at the end. The ganache is done. I simply just heated up the cream first and then chucked the chocolate in, and then now it's like this luscious sort of smooth consistency. The biscuit's also done. I actually have leftovers, which I'm pretty chuffed with. So the leftovers would be also like these, but I obviously haven't cooked them yet, so they're kind of set to the side. So we have 16 of these, and then the marshmallow is out here now. It's not set, which does mean I'm going to have to spoon it on to the biscuit, and then I might not put any heat on it. It's too soft for it. It might burn, or the chocolate might melt off of it, one of the two. But anyway, let's put this together and then call it a day, because it has been a tough challenge. I have a very, 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 very high regard and so much respect for all the candidates from the competition. It has been so tough. I think this is probably the hardest yet. I think the last few ones were challenging, but they weren't as hard as this one. I don't think marshmallow is one thing that I will revisit ever. I hope. I'm so done. I am so done. Okay, so here it is my version of the technical bake challenge, Halloween edition, s'mores. We tried it. The biscuit's probably the best thing out of this. I think the chocolate ganache was a little bit warm, so probably wasn't the best temperature to date. However, it looks amazing the way it just sits. The marshmallow isn't set, but is becoming set, so I don't know whether my fridge is just too cold for it or too warm for it, but here it is. It looks amazing. Oh my god. I mean, it's meant to be messy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so chuffed at how it turned out. Not the easiest, not the quickest, and also quite painstaking because I didn't have, oh my god, I got food in my face. It's quite painstaking, just for the effort's sake. Probably wouldn't be my best recipe yet. I do think I had much more success with the pan au raisin. And don't tell me it doesn't look like this when you put it in the, a campfire or a fire, when you're bloody melting the marshmallow. It's best, so good. Honestly, I've got the autumnal sun right now, so it looks so good in the sun as well. Anyway, that is the result of week 6 of the Technical Bake Challenge. As always, please like and subscribe, click on the notification bell for future Technical Bake Challenges. I've been enjoying doing it. I really hope you guys enjoy these ones. They've been so good, but like, I'm not gonna lie, like, please, if you don't like labouring over food, please go and buy digestive biscuits, a bar of chocolate and marshmallows. It's so much quicker. Bye bye.